All right, so Happy New Year. My name is Ariana Rickard. I am the Vice President and Program Chair of Mount Diablo Audubon. And it's the seventh day of the year, and it's already been a roller coaster. And our democracy was challenged, but it survived. And we're grateful for you all to join us this evening. We've got a very exciting program, Great Horned Owl. We think we will be able to meet some live owls this evening. And just a reminder again about the features of the Zoom in front of you. So you should have something on the top right that will allow you to change the views, whether you want full screen or speaker and you want to spotlight the person speaking. And then in the bottom and in the middle, you should see something for Q&A, raise hand, and chat. So what we're going to ask you to do for the Q&A, because we aren't together, we normally do sightings as part of our meeting. So if you could put your sightings in the Q&A, so you can please put the name of the bird, where you saw it, and the date, and then I'll read the sightings after we do board announcements. And so this evening, we're going to start with the overview of the Christmas bird count with our president, Jerry Britten, and then we'll do some poll questions about what sort of, if there's interest in having social events for the chapter, then we'll do board announcements, and then we'll get to our main program with Carla Bloom of the International Owl Center. So I am going to turn it over to Jerry, our president, to talk to us about the Christmas bird count.
Hi there. Hope everybody can see me and hear me. I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and I guess I'll get right into the results of the Christmas bird count that we conducted just a couple of weeks ago. So let me share my screen here. See how that works. So can you see that?
I can see it. Did you want to make it in presentation mode, or did you want to keep it this way?
Well, I think it is in presentation mode now, isn't it?
I don't see. Okay, now it is. Now it is. Just maybe a little bit delay. Thanks.
Okay, yeah. And so, excuse me. Yeah, the Mount Diablo Audubon has been conducting Christmas counts annually since 1955. And that was a little bit before I was born, but I really wanted to keep this tradition alive in spite of the pandemic. And there seemed to be a lot of enthusiasm about doing it. So we voted as a board to hold the count with our COVID-19 protocol, which stated that only individuals or members of the same family could go out and walk trails. Now for car birding, it was a little different. We allowed people to stay by their cars and then they could get out and look, if they parked off the road. So, but anyway, there was a number of chapters around the area that canceled their CBCs but maybe about half of them. But we, like I said, we wanted to do ours, and so we got down to a core group. But excuse me, we also subdivided routes and added new ones to try to keep the participation level as high as we could, since many of us were only birding as individuals. Hopefully next year it'll all change and we can get back to a group birding and more eyes and see more birds. But we had a good turnout anyway, and good results. This is the second year that results were compiled in eBird, and it went even more smoothly this year. I want to thank everybody who participated and submitted their checklist this way. It's just infinitely easier to deal with all the data if people share checklists. And so we're going to keep doing this going forward. So here's a little bit of statistics. We do two counts, one in the East County, one in the Central County. The East County count was on the 16th. We had 23 participants in the field. That was on a Wednesday. We had one feeder watcher and 40 total checklists, 149 species, which is a little bit better than average for this count, which has been going on for 21 years now. And number of birds, 35,805, which is right about average. For the Central County count, which was on the 16th, or excuse me, the 19th on Saturday, as usual, we had 43 participants, which is about half as much as we usually have, or even less than that. So it really was a skeleton crew. However, we had, I think, more feeder watchers than we've had in the past. We're up to 9. And these were people who not only birded their yards, but also roamed their neighborhoods and submitted checklists that way. And so we had on the Central County count a total number of 76 checklists, which is I really can't even imagine trying to do those to compile those old checklists the old way with paperless. But fortunately, out of 76, only 4 paper lists. And so again, thanks to everybody who used eBird, it made it so much easier. And the significant result of the central count was that we had 161 species, which is actually the most in the history of the count. I went back and verified that, excuse me. And there was a couple of years they had 160, 159, but this was truly a great result. And the number of birds we saw has been the highest in 20 years at 34,582 for the central count. And so it was a phenomenal result. And I want to thank all of our participants, and hopefully next year with the expanded coverage and even more people, we can keep it up. We'll just see. So why such a good result for the Central County? Well, one reason was that we got access to MOTCO, and I can't remember exactly what that acronym stands for, but it's the active military part of the Concord Naval Weapons Station. And we had access to this area for the first time in several years. And I think one of the lessons one of the takeaways for this is to try to schedule the central count as close to Christmas, because if you set it up, a couple of weeks before Christmas, they're still doing active projects there, and they don't allow us to get on. And so if closer to Christmas, it's closer to times when they're standing down anyway, and we can get access. And at MOTCO, we got such species as short-eared owl, rough-legged hawk, semi-pollinated plover, marbled godwit, and black rail, which are birds that we don't normally get. And so that was a very big contributor to our count. Also, we had a lot of birds that were found only at one location, and it was a location that normally was not birded on the count. For example, I birded the backside of Black Diamond Trail that leads from Black Diamond Park over to Clayton. And that is normally not an area that's birded. And I got Townsend Solitaire and Canyon Wren on the backside of Black Diamond, and the only person to get that. And Andrew Ford birded Donner and Bat Canyons in Mount Diablo State Park. And we haven't birded that loop in many years. And he got house wren and sharp-shinned hawk. And he was the only person to get those birds. Now, sharp-shinned hawk is pretty scarce around here for this year for some reason, but we managed to get that. And so that was a +2. And also, we got a lot of good birds at Mallard Reservoir in the Marathon Refinery property. Redhead, American bittern, red-necked grebe, and black-bellied plover, which again are uncommon birds for our count. And I want to thank Srikant Char, who birded those properties for us at the last minute, and just stood out there for hours counting all the birds on Mallard Reservoir. He did a bang-up job, so thank you to him. And to continue, why such a good result for Central County? I want to stress the importance of feeder watching. Some people did feeder watch because they weren't able to participate on the walks because of the COVID protocol. And I'm thankful that they did. the only Townsend's warbler of the count was in Dale Leidy's yard, for instance, and only one of only two white-throated sparrows was in Alan Baday's yard. And so, we need to have the feeder watchers to get these birds to put us over the top. And as far as numbers of birds, for whatever reason that day, there were huge flyover flocks of waterfowl that I heard all day long. I didn't see that many, but I heard them in the distance. And they were tundra swans, greater white-fronted geese, cackling geese, and those added significantly to our numbers total. And like I said, with additional participation, next year, I think we should be able to keep it up. And so I'm going to try to schedule the next count for Saturday, December 20th. And so it's creeping closer to Christmas. I'll probably back it off a week after this, but mark your calendars anyway for Saturday, December 20th.
Hey, Jerry, I'm just looking at my December 2021 calendar. It seems like the 20th is a Monday. Is that what you mean?
Oh, did I do something wrong?
Well, I don't know. I'm just seeing that the December 20th is
today. I just added today because the 19th was last year, and it's not. Is it a leap year? Maybe I don't know. Maybe I
don't know. I mean, according to Google, it's a Monday.
Okay. Well, it'll be the Saturday closest to that number. I'll check that out. Sorry. Anyway, so now I'm going to get into just a few pictures from the central count. Here's and I don't. Can you see the caption? Yeah, I can get it now. This is a bell sparrow from White Canyon in Mount Diablo State Park. That photo taken by Scott Hine. It was the only one that was seen on the count. Here's a hooded merganser from Grayson Creek from Ellen Krakauer, who this was one of the routes that was subdivided. I think it was one of Hugh Harvey's routes, Hugh and Rosita, that were broken up into 3 or 4 routes so that more participation, or more people could participate, which is, we're thankful for that. And he was one of many people who broke up their routes that way. This is the Townsend solitaire that I saw up at the top of Black Diamond Trail, the only one of the count, and one that's maybe seen 4 times out of the last 25 years. And here's an interesting photo of it's a little blurry, but of a western bluebird at Black Diamond Mine that was wrestling with a pretty nasty centipede on count day. The picture from Lisa Weiss. And I don't know if he actually ended up swallowing that or not. But. And finally, pine siskin from Robert Raffles' yard. Robert did, and his crew did several trails over in Briones plus his yard list. So thankful for that. And so now I'll switch to the observations from the East County count. East County count has been going on for 21 years now. And we got the species were a little bit above average, and the overall bird numbers were about average for this count. And we saw a new bird for the count, never been seen on either count until this year, and that was an eastern phoebe seen on private land at Holland Tract by Ethan Monk. And I'd like to find out if there's anybody that's viewing this or is part of our chapter that lives in East County, because we need feeder watchers out there. We only had one feeder watch, which was Srickant, who also did a route, and he got the only red-breasted nuthatch of the day out there. And other feeder watchers could pick up birds that we normally have a hard time getting out there. So if you live in Brentwood or Discovery Bay or Oakley, or know somebody who does, we'd like to have you sign up for a feeder watch next year to try to increase the participation that way for the East count. So some of the other highlight, or another highlight and observation of the East County count was there's something called count week birds, which are birds that are sighted within the count circle plus or minus 3 days from the count day, but they're missed on the count day. And there were a number of them, and some of them were were quite rare, actually. Black-throated gray warbler has been seen 7 times out of 21 years. Plumbeous vireo has never been seen, except for this year during count week. Chestnut-backed chickadee, only a couple of times out in East County. Sharp-shinned hawk, usually seen, but this year, again, they're scarce. Brown creepers, seen a handful of times. Also Townsend's warbler. Chipping sparrow, only a few times. And Hammond's flycatcher, which shouldn't be here, should be down south by now, but actually it was seen on the 19th of December. And the thing is that all of these sightings came from Creekside Park in Brentwood, which was an area we birded. But I think we need to actually bird this. This is quite a hot spot. So I think we need to bird it in shifts next year to try to pick up some of these rarities, which always seem to occur there. So that was just an item of interest. And so here's some pictures from the East Count. Here's a digiscoped picture of the eastern phoebe that Ethan Monk saw on private land in Holland Tract. We didn't advertise this because it was private land, but I think this photo is good enough for an ID purpose for that. And then here's a photo of a Hutton's vireo that I got out at Los Vaqueros Reservoir, a bird that we get about half the time on this count. Here's a blue-gray gnatcatcher from Vasco Caves, again, an area that I covered that we get, again, about half the time on this count, but we never get it on the central count, which is interesting. And a Lincoln sparrow at Los Vaqueros Reservoir in the north end by Robert Raffle. And this is one that it's not that uncommon of a bird, but it's a nice photo. So thanks, Robert, for contributing it. And I think that's the end of my show. I want to thank everybody who participated. I think we had a really good couple of days out there, and hopefully we'll do it with a lot less constraint and a lot more conviviality next year. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jerry. It's great to see the results after so many challenges, and thank you for making it happen and figuring out how we can still do it.
Yeah, it was a challenge.
Great.
Okay.
Testament to your dedication and the chapter. Okay, so there was a suggestion from one of our members to try to have some sort of social event. We know with the webinars that you cannot turn on your video and you cannot turn on your microphone and interact. And one suggestion was to try to do something before the regular membership meeting. And my difficulty with that is before these meetings start, I have all the panelists come on half an hour before, and we're just checking and making sure that everything works and people can share their screens. So if we try to do something before, it'd be really hard for me because I'd have people coming in and I wouldn't know who to talk to. And if we try to set up something the same night, but maybe before, but set out a different Zoom link, I also think that's going to cause confusion about which link people could use. So what I wanted to share with you all is an example from another chapter, from a chapter down in Orange County, Sea and Sage Audubon. And so some of their members wanted to do some sort of social get-togethers via Zoom. So they put together a whole series. And so what it was is, I'm not sure if this is one person or a team, but they just chose some dates and they chose some topics and listed them here on the website. And then people could sign up to attend, and it's pretty informal, just a way to connect again. And I know in our regular meetings, we have that refreshment break, which was a chance to catch up and talk to each other and, you know, try to create the community that we have here that we all appreciate. I have some poll questions just to see what people think. So right now we're paying for the Zoom capability and we're paying for the webinar format. Now you all have probably been on many Zoom meetings so far. So the other format is a meeting format. And with the meeting format, people can turn on their video and turn on their microphones, but it costs extra. And it would cost us $50 more a month. You know, not too significant, but it would be an extra charge if we wanted to change the webinar format to a meeting format. So just have some questions. I'm going to launch the poll now. Let me just explain each question. So with this poll, you can answer all the questions at once. So the first thing, we want to know if you think that we should pay for the video capabilities so that you all can turn on your videos and microphones and interact. So I'm not sure quite how that would work. It could be that we say the meeting starts at 7 and 7 to 7:30 is people interacting. So can everybody see the poll? And you can go ahead and start voting. Another option too is that we can we could schedule if I do not have the capabilities to start a social series, but anyway. Okay, so then the question is there interest in doing online social events with Mount Diablo Audubon? That's our second question. And then the third question is, if we do try, somebody, not me, tries to organize social events, when would be a good time to do that? So the last question is, would you like to help organize and host social events? So it would be someone who has to be the host of the meeting. And for Zoom, some people have the free account, which has like a 40-minute limit, or you also could use the Mount Diablo account. Just tell me or one of our other board members who has access to the account, I want to do a social event for the chapter this day and time. We set it up for you. We send the link, you share it with the participants. So, but if we have nobody who's volunteering to do it, then we can't do it. I'm not sure if, you know, I work full time and I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, so I'm not doing this. So again, even if with the breakout rooms, we need somebody to do it. And let me reiterate, it's not going to be me. And we haven't had any volunteers from the board do it. And it doesn't seem like anybody is volunteering now. So, but if you want to volunteer, you have our support and we will help you, you know, make this happen. But we do need people to volunteer. So, and again, if you don't feel comfortable volunteering now, you could follow up with any of the board members. Our names are listed in the quail and on the website. So I think that's probably enough on that. It does look like, let's see. Yeah, some people maybe are interested, but it doesn't seem to be an overwhelming number. Okay, so anyway, that is that. I'm going to end that because it doesn't seem like anybody else is voting. Okay, so now, okay, I will share the results so you all can see. Okay, so some people think that we should pay for the video. We've got 16 people who say they want to do social events. And if so, they want to do it before, but we have nobody who has volunteered to host things. But anyway, this is good information and the board will discuss it and figure out what we want to do. Okay, so now we are going to do board announcements, and I am going to ask Hugh Harvey to turn on his video and tell us about a recent donation.
Well, hello everybody, Happy New Year and a belated Merry Christmas. Back in December, one of our members who came on a number of field trips, Barbara Hakala, called me and said that she is moving to the East Coast to be closer to her family. And she had some books to give away. So tonight is your big chance to have a free book. And I'm going to show you what they are. Starting off here is a big, heavy illustrated encyclopedia of birds, the definitive reference to birds of the world, and it's from the International Council of Bird Preservation. We have a John Kemper copy of Birding Northern California. A Peterson Field Guide for Britain and Europe. Peterson Field Guide for the Birds of Mexico. Here's a Birds of Panama Field Guide if you're headed that direction. And painted illustrations in Birds of Southern Africa by Ian Sinclair, who I know since at least the 80s has been doing field guides for Southern Africa. Enjoying Birds and Other Wildlife in Hawaii by H. Douglas Pratt. He's the one who did the Audubon field guide for the state of Hawaii. It's a very small book that you often see if you're in Honolulu bookstores. Here's a book field guide for birds of Australia. And finally, we have the American Bird Conservancy Guide, the 500 most important bird areas of the United States. Now, since most of you know how to reach me because I've been leading field trips, if you have my email or phone, I will be willing to accept any communication with you, and we'll figure out how you can collect these books. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, Ariana.
Thank you, Hugh. Exciting selection there. Okay, so Krista, if you could turn on your video. And I see Rosalie, you're a panelist. Do you want me to, anyway, whoever wants to go, you're up.
We can maybe hear her voice, but yeah.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Krista. I'm the education chair, but I'm here tonight to talk about our second annual photo contest. So last year's was really exciting and successful. We hope you enjoyed participating, and if not, you couldn't participate, seeing the results. We're doing it all over again. So saw some great shots from the bird count, and hope that you do submit your photos to us. We've got a great, we have like kind of guest judges that come in and help, and it's just a fun time. So we're launching all of the rules on Valentine's Day. So that's something to look forward to. Go to the website. It's Mount Diablo Audubon, mtdiabloaudubon.org. And so that link will be live on Valentine's Day. So it's kind of a teaser, but in the meantime, we're also adding new categories. We're adding bird families. So pictures of parents with their offspring, birds feeding. There was that great centipede photo that we saw earlier. So birds eating, you know, what birds eat: insects, berries, shellfish, and bird bloopers. So we actually want your worst bird photos. So go ahead and submit those. If you have any questions, you could reach out to me or to Rosalie at any time. And thanks so much.
Thank you, Krista. Okay, so that is it for board announcements. And now I will read the sightings we have seen here in the Q&A and in the chat. So let me start here at the top. Okay, Cheryl Abel says, I had 12 pine siskins at my feeders on Monday. Alan Baudet said they had buried thrush and wren tits on the Bear Creek Trail near Briones Reservoir on East Bay Mud today. Terry Wills, we visited Holland Track yesterday. Thousands of geese, snow, and greater white-fronted. On Delta Road, just before the bridge, we had at least 8 yellow-headed blackbirds. On the flooded fields north of Holland Track Road, there were hundreds of ducks, including several redheads. Wow, lots of birds. Okay, Nahid Craig says Townsend's Warbler, December 25th, morning backyard, Lafayette, not too far from Leeds and Louisiana. Unfortunately, pine siskins have been dying from salmonellas on the East Bay. I'm in Berkeley and I've seen 2 dying siskins. A friend has seen about 1 sick puppy siskin a week, and there's been a next door post here about taking down seed feeders due to this siskin salmonella outbreak. They're notoriously susceptible, it turns out. Okay, here's an article about the sad aspect of the pine siskin eruption. That's from Wild Burns Unlimited, and I think you all can see the Q&A and can click on that link. Then Julia Starr, 6 or 7 pine siskins in Rossmore on Tuesday, January 5th, and Paul Shore, red-breasted sapsucker, Creekside Park, Brentwood on January 2nd. And then Rosalie had 6 hermit thrushes at the same time, bathing under a leaky picnic area faucet at Clayton Community Park. And then we've got a Virginia rail at Radke Martinez Regional Shoreline from Isaac Aronoff. Marine Lahi, Virginia rail at Radke Martinez Regional Shoreline. And then we've got a male and female Nuttall woodpecker at Backyard Suet Feeder all day, every day in San Ramon. Wilson's snipe at Heather Farms Park on December 27th and 28th. And let's see, from Steve Buffy, the short-eared owl at Waterfront Road. Thank you for sharing all of those. Let's see, did another one come in? Oh, very large siskin eruption about a month ago, and a western screech owl from Beth Brand Haber, a western screech owl near an Olympic Boulevard staging area. Very exciting. Okay, so now